Up at the office, and I just kind of want to give you guys my view here. I love this view. I don't want to go into too much detail as to where I work, but today is kind of a wind down Wednesday, if you will. But one thing that came up today with one of my fellow colleagues, funny enough, is he and I were talking about being different and how you gravitate to other people who are different and like you and striving for substance and whatnot. Now, don't get it twisted. He's taken, but he is a very sweet person and a fellow believer to talk to. And everybody's on different levels, but when you have an open mind, you can talk to different people on different levels and be able to relate. And so, one of the things that came to my mind personally, as far as a turnoff, because you're talking about turnoffs, is the fact that I personally don't care to see a man, especially on their social media, hugged up and pictured up with all these different women, and then he hits you in your DM and thinks that you're going to respond positively. I've had that happen, and to be quite honest, I don't like it. I'm sitting up here looking like you've got all these women who you are pictured up with, or I've even seen guys to the point where they're like, oh, I'm celebrating a friendship with do. Don't think I don't see. I might not like everything or whatever, but I peep it. I'm checking out certain things. And some guys are just cute. And let's just be real. When you're single, you pay a little bit more attention to eye candy, my dear, versus when you're not, then you're more focused. But I that's a turnoff for me. A man who's got all these different women he's hugged up with, and oh, I'm sharing my friendship, and I'm excited. Like on Facebook, I'm excited about our friendship, that we've been friends for so and so years. Or you can share different friendships about who you've been friends with and all this kind of stuff. That's a turnoff for me, because one, and maybe I'm reading into it too much, but I feel like you're indicating your type and what you like. So, for example, if I see you share that you've been in every post about how long you've been friends with somebody, if I see you share that and I notice that there's like a running type, let's say you like racially ambiguous women, no shade to them, pretty women, whatever. Let's say you like chocolate women, whatever it is. If all the women are chocolate and that's who you're feeling and digging and sharing the fact that y'all have been friends on Facebook for umpteen amount of years or whatever, I'm kind of like, okay, I think he might like chocolate women. So if I'm not the color of charcoal, a beautiful black charcoal, then I'm not going to pass. Or if my hair isn't down to my booty and it's real, then hey, I'm not going to pass. Or if I'm not racially ambiguous enough and my nose isn't thin and my skin isn't high yellow, then I'm not going to. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's not being insecure. It's just we all have preferences and types now. I can make a whole nother video about whether your type is in line with God's type. You got to type for you. You got to be kind of careful about that. It's not to say that you can't have a preference, but does your preference line up with Christ? And is it to the point where I don't personally like to holler about being realistic. Yeah, to a certain degree, I get that. Say, for example, I don't know, heck. I don't know. I just can't place limits on God like that. Because even, let's just talk about credit. Let's say my credit is good and you meet somebody whose credit is toe up, honey. Then, God has a tendency to clean that up before you guys get married. Or I knew somebody who had a story where they married somebody who was broke. And I'm sitting up here like, you know what I mean? And only because I've been there, where guys will sit up here and be like, oh, well, she's financially stable. And because they're bummy, I don't have to do anything. Miss me with it. But You want to be led in everything you do. God does, I feel like, insert certain things in us that can draw us to our mate to help us recognize who that individual is, but also consider the story of Esther. Esther had to be groomed and prepped for her king. I'm sure that prepping was everything from physical to mental to whatever. But she was not initially prepped prior to those. Some scholars estimate that it was 6 months or a year or something like that. She was not initially prepped for that kind of like since birth. So she had to learn certain things and certain etiquettes, but she also had to remember her individuality as the person that God made her, because her boldness, which was a personality trait outside of a whole bow to your king mentality, ended up saving her people. So I say all that to say a turn off is if you have too much going on as far as in your public display of affection with a whole bunch of women. The fact that maybe you might like a dozen pictures and never say anything. I don't advise saying anything unless you're led, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I just feel like presentation is everything. And maybe before we jump to judgment, because people are quick about doing that, maybe clarify, maybe ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, okay, for example, I have had a male best friend of 12 years. I would not want somebody to say, oh, well, she's got a male best friend, so I can't talk to her. Absolutely not. He has nothing to do with my singleness. Thank you very much. I would want you to come and talk to me about our relationship before you jump the gun. So, just little tidbits on that. Just a little encouragement. Nothing too major, but you know, presentation is everything. And how you conduct yourself, especially when it comes to conducting yourself with the opposite sex, can say a lot in regards to who finds you attractive and who doesn't. So I hope that kind of helps. I also want to say too that I don't know, just be yourself. I feel like when you try to be someone else, then you end up being socially awkward from that manner, and no one gets to know the real you. You are peculiar and wonderfully made. You were made that way for a reason. Nobody wants to deal, well, I'm going to say a mature person does not want to deal with the same crapola that they can find anywhere. Be you so that way you can be found by the right mate, the right friendships, even the right connection partners. Anyway, I'm tired of being here. I got to go. So I'm getting ready to chuck the deuces in my location. And the cleaning lady looking at me like, well, she's still here, you know. So I'm out. I will talk to you guys later. This has been a wind down Wednesday. I am hecka tired.